Is it going? I think it's going. Definitely going. Cool. Alright. And it's super dark. There we go. Wish I could turn that off. Hi everybody! It's Monday, and I'm working on a thing today. I figured I'd stream because I haven't done that in a while. I've been applying for stuff. Like, I keep mentioning that everywhere, that I've just been writing and doing a lot of boring work lately, but I think I'm done with the bulk of it, so I can get back to doing interesting, fun things like making motor mounts for my nipples and working on anything else Shibon related. There we go. Yeah? I'm gonna sit here for a minute and see if anybody wants to hang out with me. And I can reboot my social gland, yeah? Let's see. Where did that even go? I don't know. Huh. But my camera's freaking out. It's very, very angry. Did I close it? There we go. Hello, James. Good morning. Is it still morning? Yeah, here it is. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so I see I'm not alone. Today I am working on a pasty mount, or a mount for this board that I recently made. I need to get another screen so desperately, but I'm talking about this little board right here. I recently got these back from Seed, and I basically took a shot at making a persistence of vision like type setup, which is basically something that moves really, really fast, and then the LEDs on the fast moving thing pulse, and then they spell words or make designs or whatever. It's a neat effect. I've never actually played around with it before, so I didn't really know what I was doing when I made this, but when I talked to Mark, he assured me that if I just made a board with some sort of Hall effect sensor and put enough LEDs on it, then we'd be able to figure it out. And I posted some footage early last week showing that it does in fact work. This thing does spin when it's mounted onto the hub of a motor. Like, there's a little printed attachment right there that you can't see because the camera keeps adjusting contrast. Yay! There we go. This little guy sticks onto a really tiny, like, fan motor, like DC motor, and it's relatively balanced. There's a battery holder on either side of the propeller, and it spins, and it actually spells words. So, the point is that the propellers, the new propellers for my propeller pasties, part of the Shibon project, will now be these. So when they spin, my nipples will actually spell out words, which is a lot more fun than passive propellers, because, I mean, those don't communicate anything to anybody. So, yeah. I can point this down now. Let's see. Nope. That. There we go. So I have a little, like, space cut out on my desk, because I'm thinking I am gonna be assembling things today a little bit. In lieu of making actual proper pasties, the kind that would actually adhere to my nipples like pasty implies, I'm going to make something more of a bra to start out with. And I have like 3 different found object type materials that I want to make like chest pieces or bras out of, that I think will more reliably hold the the weight of the motors and the propellers out. And then I think additionally I will investigate ways to make an actual pasty that has enough surface area that it can adhere to my boobies and keep the propellers pointing out at the proper angle and doing their thing. So that's the goal. But there's this cool looking chrome thing right here. Here, you can even see the camera. You can see yourself. Yeah. This is actually a base that came with this interesting lamp that I got from IKEA for the I call it the stinger. It's the thing that's attached to the bottom of the what's it called? The pulse pack. There's this metal thing. You can probably see it a little bit if I click back over. There we go. This guy right here is basically a desk lamp. It's an articulated stem aimable lamp thing that has an LED in it, and it was easy to connect up to the power supply on my pulse pack. So this is the thing that shines the light in between my legs. Once the hotspot spreads the cheeks. But I didn't need the base for this thing, and since I got it in chrome, I stared at this long enough, and I thought that if I got a second one, I could make an interesting flat bra, which I really like the idea of making a flat bra that's reflective, because bras aren't supposed to be flat. That like completely negates the aesthetic of breasts altogether. So I'm gonna be a cheeky fucker and put my first set of propeller motor mounts on these flat discus things right here. Yeah. And I printed so far this little torpedo tip thing that I think is going to house my motor. There's like some complex mounting bits inside of there, and if I can reach my fingers in enough to countersink the nuts that I have cutouts for, then this might actually work pretty decently. But it's got the same footprint as this thing, and then they'll like connect to each other, and then I might have to make another hole. No, actually I think I want the wires to go on the outside. The other purpose of, or not purpose, but goal of making bras or cuirasses or chest pieces like this is to keep all of the moving bits and the electronics and the wires and the hardware goodies separate from my flesh, so that I don't end up abrading the sensitive tissue of my nipple. So I think, yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna dive into it. It's gonna be a CAD day, so I'm gonna minimize myself and show the desktop primarily. And I might draw a little bit just to further illustrate what it is that I'm trying to do, because I'm still trying to solve a problem. It's a problem I haven't figured out the proper solution for yet. It's still very much a thing that's in my mind that I'm mulling over right now, because the way that I want this to work for this particular found object bra is that I don't want to add any more mounting points to anything other than this central point, like right here in the center. So I have to find some way of transferring this mounting point down around my boob to whatever base structure has the attachments on it for the straps. Yeah? And it can't go down through the center, because that's where like my breast meat is going to go. So I have to come up with something unique. I might potentially add threads. I might make like an insert that will go in here that actually has threads on it, so that I can actually just screw this onto like a base, a bra base, and then this can just sort of like wind on, and then this the bra part could be like a universal mount that I can put all the other that I'm attaching propeller pasties to onto. So that's kind of the goal. Yeah. Anyhow, how are you guys doing? I've talked enough for now. Cheers. Hi everybody. All right. Anyhow, I'm gonna go down, and then I'm gonna, nope, not that down. This down. There we go. Woohoo! So let's see. So I've got some shapes here on the side. This one right here specifically is my booby mount, the thing from IKEA that I keep holding up. This guy right here. The torpedo guy is right here. Did I make an assembly? Yes, there we go. Okay. So this is so far what I've got. I have the torpedo shape that's stuck on top of the IKEA base, and then I've got the propeller attached to the tip of the motor, which is in there, and this is all modeled up individually, which I can actually assemble right now and see if that even works. So I went and I found 2 M3 nuts. Like I'm in desperate need of a trip to the hardware store, because as of right now, M3 nuts, or 3M3 3mm nuts are like a very, very scarce resource in our lab, because I think both me and Mark kind of default to 3mm hardware, and as soon as we get a bag of nuts in, they're gone. They're like sunk into prototypes and stuff. So I have to literally go to the carpet and source nuts for the sake of doing things like this. And I don't like driving all the way to our hardware store. Be right back. Woo! Luckily, we have this really nice Prusa printer, and it prints threads very well. So if I do decide to make the bra like a threaded base, like universal hub base, by the way, I'm trying to countersink these nuts in here. If I thread them and tighten them, then it will suck the nut into the little countersunk space that I made. Yeah, like that. And then it should just stay. Unless I'm really rough with them, which sometimes I am. So to show you what I'm doing, if I open this guy up, you can see inside of there, there's these little like countersunk nut indentions right here. So I'm kind of using my pinky to finagle a nut down into that groove, and then I'm squishing it into that hole by tightening a nut into it. And then I can attach this to the IKEA plate thingy. And I can put my motor in here. Yeah. I guess I should switch the camera. Hi. Okay. And I'll check the chat here in a second. Oh no, you weren't supposed to do that. No. It's all me attempting to be social. But yeah, I'm finally done doing all of my adult stuff for now. For the moment. Like, I know more proposally natured things will come up as the year progresses, but for now I can like officially switch back to full work mode and just make stuff, which is what I really want to be doing. For a second. Do I have a drawing plan? I can draw something. I think I'm gonna here in a second for my own sake, just to kind of clarify what I'm doing in my own head. Let me put this on the mount, like I said I was gonna, and then I'll switch over and draw a sketch of what I'm doing to better illustrate what I tried to explain a minute ago. For your basal attack, perhaps a bayonet mount. What is a bayonet mount? I gotta Google that. I don't know. Is that a specific type of mount? Alright, here I go. I'm gonna switch this down. Bench view. So, I stuck the nuts inside of this thing. I should be able to... Oh, except that's really big. Forgot how large those were. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make an adapter for this anyway. Alright, fair enough. Okay, so I need to make... I need to attach this to a base that I'm going to conceivably 3D print that's going to have the kind of like loop attachments right here and above on my neck, so I can add straps to it. So this is going to probably seat on top of that 3D printed part, and then this guy right here that holds my motor is going to sandwich the two together. But I'm trying to think of a clever way of transferring, like, only using this mounting point to connect the three pieces. But then the challenge is that this is seated on top of my breast, so I can't screw directly through where there's going to be flesh occupying space. So I have to figure something out. Yeah, like a spider web scaffolding, like a bra net would probably work. Tabletronics, good suggestion. Yeah, there's different things in my mind that I'm thinking of doing. I'm not sure which one will work best, so that's what I'm gonna figure out. But I mentioned I'm going to sketch here for a second. Let's see. If I go here. Ah, that was the thing I was just working on. Do. Let's see. Oh, Mark had to resolder the USB connector back onto this thing. I've been using the same Wacom tablet now for over 10 years, I think. Or exactly 10 years, which is nuts. Actually, I think it's going on 12 now. Ugh. My birthday's this month, which I hate. After you get to a certain age, you just hate your birthdays, right? Alright, so... But yeah, my tablet's about as old as I've been doing any of this for real, like a big kid. It's as old as my career. So... I have this torpedo-y bit, right? And this guy is going to effectively house... Wow, that looks like garbage. That's the other thing about the tablets where you're not actually looking at the surface you're drawing on. It never really gets any easier to like close the loop between the thing you're drawing on and the thing you're looking at. Like, I don't think I've ever actually adapted to it. So the gray piece right here is what I just printed. And this is going to mount to my IKEA hubdo. That wonderful mirrored chrome flat surface. It looks like garbage. Let's redraw that. There's an easy way to make straight lines, Sarah. Just use it. Hold down the shift key like a proper human and draw your straight lines. There. Okay, so this is the IKEA, we'll call that a plate. IKEA plate. And this right here, we'll just call that the torpedo. I'm not going to label it. You know what it is. Below this, there's going to be some manner of thing that has attachment points somewhere around its edges for the bra strap. Strap. Mounting, what could I call that? It's a mounting, it's technically a plate. I'll just say it's a bracket. Mounting bracket. Strap. So the thing I get extra credit for is, I don't know if I'm gonna do this or not, and this is like me being chasing aesthetic purely, but where's this? There's this effect that I did with the beatbox augment thing that I made, that salmon looking piece. Oh god, don't do that. Where I had two 3D printed pieces of plastic, one on top and bottom, and then in between the two, that's not what I want. In between the two 3D printed pieces, there was a piece of this like vinyl that I have. It's this really nice gray plastic. It's not a vinyl. I don't know what it is. It's an interesting material, but it's like a light diffusing material, and it's gray. And it's great because when the LEDs are off, it just kind of looks like a solid piece of gray plastic, which looks really nice with metal or any other gray 3D printed parts. But when the LEDs turn on, when they activate to indicate whatever the sensors are picking up, then suddenly those windows, this is in pencil mode, ain't it? Yes, it is. That'll do. It'll light up and diffuse the light really nicely, and it pretty much just changes the color it's supposed to be. You can't really tell that it used to be, or it is a gray lens that it's passing through at all. I don't know what the material is. They were Mark's shelf liners that he kind of gave to me to use a long time ago for a project, and I've been rationing the material out like very, I don't know. When it calls for it, I'll use it, because I know that once I run out of this stuff, it's going to be probably difficult to locate again or find out where I can get more of it. But why are these not turning off? Oh, because they're the same thing. That's why. Okay. So the thing that I'm trying to figure out is a way to attach this guy to this guy, and then attach this guy to that guy. Put this on top in some capacity. And not interfere with, I'll make this a super flesh color. Say there's gonna be a boob. We'll just say that's a boob. Don't question it. With a nipple. Yes. Nipple and boob. Ah, no. There. Good enough. So, and if in case that's like too direct, we'll just leave that transparent. There. No, fuck it. It's a boob. Here. We'll even put a big, in case anyone's wondering, boob. Okay, so this is basically going to exist somewhere inside of this enclosure bit. I'll put these together in a thing. This and this can go together in a thing. No. We'll call this the torpedo. Ha! It does look like a torpedo. This is, okay, that's the torpedo and top mounting plate. And this is the strap mount? Sure, we'll call that that. And this is, attachment vector. Yeah. This is the attachment vector. Here we'll make this like a more standy outy color, like red. There. Okay, so we've got the attachment vector. We've got the thing that I need to avoid getting hardware inside of. Because I think I mentioned this earlier, everything I make ends up hurting me, like, in some capacity. And it's not, like, mortally wounded type pain, but it's always it causes some level of discomfort because I'm making... I mean, I've never really engaged in a wearable project like this before, so I'm still trying to overcome how to make the things that I'm building comfortable enough that you'd want to wear them for more than like 10 or 15 minutes. And I had to actually take photographs wearing all of this stuff recently because I've been submitting this project to a bunch of stuff that I want to do and get, you know, funding and visibility and whatever. So I had to photograph it on a body. So I had to put the stuff on and then get people to take photographs of it in use. But then the whole time I was wearing certain devices, I was like, this could actually probably be a little bit better. And I'm thinking of like iteration 2 so that I can make the wearables more wearable. But if I can make better decisions in the beginning, then my Rev 1, my first iterations can be... I don't have to suffer as much. Long story short. So this is basically what I'm doing. The way that I think I'm gonna go about solving this is, as I mentioned, creating some sort of threaded mount that this attaches to, and then the thread. So like, let me draw this. This drawing's just gonna get really scary. I apologize. So this guy right here, this top mounting bracket bit, I'm going to... That's not how the threads would go. I think the way this would work is there would basically be... No. Listen to me. That's too fat. There'd be like... There we go. You can barely tell that's threaded. But basically, this piece would be threaded, and then this piece would similarly be threaded. So so it'd be a matter of making like a insert that would seat inside of this guy right here. It would have threading that would match whatever the universal booby mount would be, and that's basically going to be like a circle that would fit around the breast and have threading on the outside, which I've said. I think I'm gonna do that. I think that's probably one of the easiest solutions for now. And that booby mount can also have the bracket that needs to go here. That's going to probably have like a countersunk hole for the head of the nut. That's like one of these guys that's gonna go in this way and screw in to, not the nut, the screw, sorry. The head of the screw is going to be countersunk into that bracket so that when I push this through it, this can kind of like, the head can sit flush within the bracket so that this isn't poking into any like flesh bits on the inside. And the screw can like go straight into the nut that's press fit inside of this torpedo shape. So that's the game plan. So I'm gonna switch over to the Fusion and probably check the, no, not that. Check the chat real quick so I'm not terribly neglectful. Oh man. Imagine deep. Aw, thanks Aussie Welsh. I say hi, and I say hi on Mark's behalf too. He's not here right now, but I'm sure he would say hi. Chafing is definitely a concern. I might put fabric on the inside of this just so there's no plastic bits that will snag. I don't want to snag the nip. Aw, thank you. Thank you for offering your laser cutter. Custom creations. I think for this first thread slot, this would be too big. And more reliable in threads. Look up fencing chest protector for bases to design a comfortable mounting bracket. And a 1/8 turn slot in the base with 2 pins at the plate would probably be both easier and more reliable than threads that size in plastic. As long as the pins don't overlap with the inside of the circular area any, that's the thing that I'm fighting with. And then I kind of want to keep the outside streamline as well, so I don't want to have any like material that you would screw hardware through to clamp things down, because I don't want there to be anything mucking up the outside aesthetic either. So I'm trying to make the pieces couple together as invisibly as possible, which is kind of the challenge. Because yeah, like if I really, I mean, I think for the first attempt that I did of the cuirass or the bra, I didn't really worry about making anything invisible. I just wanted it to work. So I used like brute force and attached everything, and as ugly as it needed to be to get it to work, I did exactly that. And I want to try and like give myself some limitations and some design parameters that I'm going to uphold to. So the first one is really just to keep, I mean, functionally the inside needs to be clear so that it doesn't hurt my meat. And then I want to keep the outside like free of any hardware as well. So I'm gonna try the threads. Like our printer prints threads pretty decently, especially the larger ones. The the original version of the bra works much the same way, where there's a universal hub that each assembly screws onto. So it's two different assemblies. There's the one with the sensor and there's the one with the propeller and the gearbox, and they each have the same threading, and they each could screw onto either one of the boob mounts, and they're designed in such a way that the universal mount holds the sensors and the functioning bits at the correct distance from the boob. So I think I'm gonna give that a try again. If it doesn't work, then I'll look up what you suggested and see if that's a potential solution for the fail. I could do that with acrylic, but like I can tell a story while I work. Here, let me switch down to the desktop view. So when I was in art school and I first started making mechanical things, one of the things that our professor sort of pounded into our heads was not to use a glue or an adhesive or anything like that where you could potentially make a mechanical connection, just in case you wanted to reuse a part or take something apart or whatever. If it wasn't going to be permanent, he was just like, don't even touch glue, don't even go there. Find some way around it where you can mechanically facet things together. And I try to continue doing that just for the sake of good practice. I could form plastic if that was like the point in and of itself, to like mold something and heat it up and like make a custom form factor, but like I don't really like heating up plastics because I'm terrified of like toxic fumes and stuff. And it's not something that I've dabbled in. Mark does it all the time in here, but I like make him go outside. But I'm not very confident I could do it very effectively and then do it twice over for each breast. So I don't know. Anything that I can design and have a machine create for me with some level of precision and like perfection, accuracy, whatever, I'm gonna stick with that for now, just because it's gonna make my life easier at the moment. But anyhow, I'm gonna copy this guy, because I know what this is, and I'm going to make my threads. Threads is. I mean, sure. It's a bit too much. Is it still? I'll go with that. I'm gonna save this and print it and see what happens. The other thing I'm doing with a bunch of these augments is I'm using that same diffuser material as my straps to connect these things to my body. It's thin, it's transparent, it is pretty robust, and it just looks nice. And again, it's that really nice gray, like gunmetal color. So I'm also using it as all of the, I guess, just straps. So I'm probably going to end up using that for the bra, or this version of the propeller pasty chest piece as well. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? There we go. Delete. Here's the thing I just did. The torpedo bit. Alright, and then I need to save you. And I think, let me just double check this is the correct size. I don't remember what this thing was. That would be too big. Interesting. 108. So that would be too big. Good thing I double checked. 108. So this will probably, I mean, I just gave this whole diatribe about not using glue, but since this will be permanently a part of this thing, I probably will adhere this to the inside of this guy. But I don't know, like if I were mounting this, like the motor bracket thing, like to the surface of this guy, I will probably always use hardware in that circumstance instead of like relying on adhesive to stick two plastics together. Alright, so that is in fact the size that I thought it ought to be. I'm going to export this thing. And hopefully this doesn't take too terribly long. Do. How long is it gonna take? Does anybody else have a Prusa? They're pretty great. I'm sure if you have one, you're like, yes, they are fantastic. I'm well aware. 2 hours and 20 minutes. See, that's the thing. They print so nicely, but everything I found takes twice as long as the MakerBot, or old MakerBot. So if I want something now, then I use it, but if I want something good, then I use the Prusa. Because, Yeah, it's a better printer in general. Alright, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna stick this inside of the little slot hole and tell it to do the thing. I'll be right back. Yay! Okay. Do your thing. Alright, so... Oh man. I really need a desk light. Oh. Oh, cool. You have the MK3. It's nice. It's like a lot better than what we used to use. But yeah, it does take a while. So I gotta keep myself occupied for 2.5 hours. That's fine. I got plenty to do. Yeah, the other thing that I need to work on now that I'm free again is I need to go back to that leg design of noodles that I started like back in January. I'm going to probably make a full set of those legs and order more of the motors and just test out and see if they do in fact work. In which case, if they do, I'm gonna take the footprint of the bones and then make them in aluminum. Num num num. Because Noodle wants to walk. We took him to Death Valley yesterday with us on a family road trip, and I felt like a jerk because I promised myself that in the instance that we went to Death Valley, which is basically like Mars, I would take Noodle and he'd be able to walk and test out his walking abilities in the pseudo-Martian terrain, but that he wasn't ready yet. He wasn't ready to like just set down and be like, hands off, go do your thing. He can't balance still, and I still haven't figured out a way to add rechargeable batteries to his feet so that he doesn't have to be tethered to a power supply source or whatever. So I have a lot of things to figure out this year in regard to him, because I think my main goal for this year is just to get him mobile, like really mobile, like I initially envisioned him being, which is not a trivial thing to do, but nonetheless, I'm gonna do it if it's at all possible. But let me look at the chat. For this, no, for the IKEA piece, I'm gonna put them on the inside so it's like a cap. That way you can see that nice, it's kind of like this lip. Like I like the way that this looks for a cheap lamp. Like this is kind of a nice piece of chromy plastic that came with it. So if I can preserve this like whole shape and just sort of have this mount on top of something so that all you see is this and then like a red spinning propeller, then that's the thing that I want to try and like adhere to if I can pull it off. So the thread's gonna go along the inside, and then there'll be like a plastic bracket that it just kind of smashes onto. So, oh, sorry, I gotta take you guys with me. Nope, not that. This, okay. So if I go desktop view, if I go back down here again, if I go to, just save this. I'm gonna name this, once it's done doing its thing, That's another thing I'm really bad at. I need to like name stuff so that I remember what it is. This is the inside thread for IKEA piece. So if I go to the assembly and I import this, it should like go in there nicely like that. Now why is it smaller? That's a bad thing. 114, so now it's 214. Why did it show 108 earlier? Are my calipers being a fool? Okay, so that was correct earlier. Interesting. I should probably go run and stop the printer. So this is not 108. This was, in fact, 114. Roar. 114, and then this would have to be 110. Ah! Stop the press! Okay, I'm gonna go run and stop the printer and resave this. I don't know. That's interesting. My calipers must have did a funky thing. Or I read them wrong. One or the other happened, but in any case, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Ow. No idea how that happened. It doesn't matter. Somebody needs more coffee. That is the answer. Okay. One more time. Yes. I know I don't have to do it that way. It just makes me feel better if I do it that way. So, alright. It's 114. And one more time, just so I know I'm not losing my mind, I'm gonna zero these things out. It should be good. Alright, we're gonna go with that. That is correct. Ah! Export. Let's try this again. I guess I will name this ring 2. Ring 2. Save. La la la. Do 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 do. Okay. Will it be longer or will it be the same? Who knows? Slightly longer. 3 hours. Wow. Jeez, okay. Man, I could just watch a movie or something. 3 hours, 2 movies. I could watch one whole Lord of the Rings movie in 3 hours. Damn it. I mean, there's always other work to be done. I could do CAD like all day, every day, and I would still probably never finish all the projects I want to do. Alright, I'll be right back. Yeah! Okay, so that would have been this, which would have been quite a bit too small. So I'm happy I caught that. Just to probably can't even see this because the contrast is probably all screwed up, but yeah, this thing like has quite a bit of like wiggle room in there. Oh well. Oh, I hate when that happens. Oh well, good thing I caught it. Anybody else sunk like a million hours into a print and then found out that like something is just very blatantly wrong with it, and then you immediately have to go make the change and restart the print? I mean, I've definitely done it in the past. Multiple times. On many occasions. But it's the worst feeling. As you know. But anyhow. There's the bench view, desktop view. Pew! Okay. So I'm gonna save this. See, this is why we make assemblies, right? It's so that you can actually see what you're doing as you're doing it before you commit to printing stuff, right? Right? That's the whole point of doing this step right here. So there's a little bit of a gap. I think it's like a half a millimeter all the way around. That's for the printy curve, and then I'm probably going to use painter's tape to fill in the gap so that it just sort of like snugly fits in there, and I might not have to use adhesive. It might just compress in there with that not painter's tape, I'm sorry, paper tape. Paper tape's kind of like fabric-y. It's very, very thin, and you can just layer it on something until it has the very correct thickness to fill in a gap. And since it is very soft, it does kind of just like squish in place. It's very nice. I use it as band-aids on my fingers, but it also helps in making connections like this. But glue is always a good thing too. I don't know why I hate glue so much. Why do I hate glue? I definitely have like qualms with glue. Maybe I'll deep dive that one of these days. Propeller. Okay, so I believe that was a 105. No. This was a 10 millimeter whatever. And I need to put the same thing, where is it? There we go, on the outside of this. Again, 110. Create thread 110 modeled. Okay. Ah, okay, so that's not enough meat then. So let us add more meat. So this is what, 111? Okay, so I need to make this a bit thicker. And then I can add my threading to the outside of this, and this is the piece that is going to couple onto the IKEA bit. Create thread. And that was 110 millimeter thread, modeled, go. There we go. Oh, nope, that's still not enough wall. Damn. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Come on. No? Doesn't want to do that? Diameter of view. 105. Just 100? Will that be enough? That looks like enough. Okay, so the inner diameter of this mounting adapter bit is now 100, which is a lot. That's like this much. If I hold it up to my boob. Okay, so it's about that much. That's like kind of small. But it'll work. I don't know. That's kind of tiny for like a boob covering, like on the inside. But whatever, we'll see how it goes. So that does take away quite a bit of meat from this. If the inner diameter of the inside of this IKEA piece is like 114, so it's 7 millimeters per thread worth of material that takes away from the inside of this, or adds to the inside of this. So I don't know. I'm not really, it's not a graceful solution. I'm surprised that those have to be so thick, but I guess it makes sense. Interesting. So that means that this is about 3.5 millimeters thick. I guess that's reasonable. Okay, so I'm going to close these. I'm going to go back to my assembly bit, and I'm going to... Oh, what do you want? Yeah, I can update you. Do 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 do. Oh. Okay, so that's going to look roughly like this once it's finished. So the other thing that I mentioned earlier, like in regard to the drawing thing, there's this transparent bit right here I was talking about, and I said that between this plastic mounting piece and this plastic mounting piece, there'd be sandwiched this like kind of like wall of I guess light diffuser material. And this is implying that there's going to be lights on the inside of this thing, which there are, but I am not getting to that yet because that's an entirely different thing to overcome and solve for. There's this channel, there's this groove bit. If I zoom in here along the edge, right here, that dark bit. So this is actually a it's like a crevice. It's a channel or a slot that goes down, I think, 2 millimeters all the way around. And that is actually where that light diffuser strip is going to stick into. So there's going to be a piece that marries to this on the bottom. So I guess, like, if I were to zoom out, I can actually do that at this point. So if you look at it like this, and then I switch back to my sketch that I made earlier, I've got so far from here up done right now. I also show that there are these little like tabs on the side that the strap should thread through for the attachment of the thing that I'm making to my body. I need to add those at this point, and then I need to make the piece that is going to sandwich down below it and capture that light diffuser in between the two, which is going to be this. And then this strap is probably, I don't know, it's probably going to be attached to both. So this is where there might be hardware if I decide it makes sense doing the bracketing, but I don't know if I want to do that. So the other thing, I'm going to throw all of this into a folder. What is that? Okay. So this is side view. All right, I'm going to do a top view now and show you where I think these straps are going to go so that you have an idea what I'm going to be doing next. So I'm going to plug my, whatever this is. Let me make sure I'm, hang on. Okay, so yeah, you are looking at the correct thing. Ha. Okay, I'm going to plug my tablet back in. And there we go. Okay, so I do have a tool to make a circle, so I'm not going to botch that. La la la. La 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 la. Contract. Okay, so this right here is the booby piece. The mounting plate that I am designing right now. And if I say modify 8, okay, no. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add 3 tabs for material, like clothing type material, like the straps. If you think of like a bikini, how about that? For those of you who have ever worn a bikini top, you know that there's basically 2 strings. Actually, no, there's technically 3. So there's one on either side of your neck that ties behind your neck, that attach to the top of each like bra boob triangle, and then there's one continuous strap that goes through both, I don't know, the bottom of both boob pieces and then ties behind your back. If I were to not make this bottom part continuous and have it actually connected to the side of each breast piece, then I'd need a third little strap portion to connect the 2 in between the breasts right in the center of my chest, and that would only be about this long, or however long it needs to be. I don't even know. So I'm thinking there will be, because of this, because of how I see it working in my head, 3 mounting points for these 3 chunks. The neck chunk, the side chunk, and the middle chunk. So there will be a tab up here at the top that is going to go to the neck. And then if this were the left boob, then who's left boob? I guess that doesn't matter. Because what does left even mean? I guess if you're looking at somebody, it's this left boob. So if you're looking at a person and it's their left breast, then here would be the connector that is on the chest, mid, and then there would be a connector on this side that would go to behind the back, and this would probably be more like here, probably be up higher. So I'm thinking I'm going to equally space these. Get the red pen out. Kind of like a Delta robot. You have like these like 120-degree angle swaths that make up each like quadrant. It's not a quadrant. It's a, what would be 3 pieces equivalent of quadrant? Whatever. Whatever. Screw it. You know what I mean. So I want to have these equally spaced. I guess probably in my heart the thing that I'm thinking is that these look as not like a bra as possible. And really, like, probably everything I make goes that way. I like that the stuff that is related to this project mostly doesn't look like it should belong on a body, or it doesn't look like it belongs on a body. Why my heart is in that place in regard to designing all of these Shibon pieces, I don't really know. I'll probably excavate that out of my head at some later point in time, but I know that for whatever reason, there's a strong drive in me to have these pieces individually not look like they belong on a garment or on anything that has anything to do with use with a human form. I don't know. So I like the symmetry of this. It's probably not going to work out perfectly because, again, this strap would probably work a little bit better if it came directly off of the bra like this to connect to the next one. And same thing on this side. There's a reason why it's one continuous piece of strap on bathing suits. It actually works out pretty good that way if it just goes underneath your boobs and one long continuous line. But I'm gonna not do that, and I'm gonna see what happens. And this is the garment portion, or the wearable portion of the project, kind of being forced to accommodate what the visual aesthetic is of the actual functioning portion of the augment. So it's the visual aesthetic of the functioning bit first and foremost, and then it's then secondarily being turned into something that's wearable. I guess that's kind of how my head's going down the list, which is why it's difficult for me to make these things comfortable. So that's probably why I'm stuck in my own hell. I'm doing it to myself. It got gloomy again. Sorry, I just looked out the window and I'm like, where did the sun go? It's totally off topic, but I mean, I don't know how many of you people know this. I say it a bunch, but I live in the desert. I'm from Vegas. So we don't typically get a lot of rain here. And for whatever reason, we've been getting a ton of it. So it's very unusual for this part of the country, I'm guessing, for us to be getting this volume of cloudy, gloomy, stormy weather. Because it's March now, and usually by March here in Vegas, it's actually much more summer-like. It's like not quite as hot as summer, but there's definitely like fewer and fewer clouds, period, in the sky, let alone storm clouds. So that's been interesting. But I'm gonna check the chat real quick just to do what I do. What? Oh man, I have so much to catch up on. talking about the mobility, do you think of lithium polymer batteries and sort of a match battery pack so he isn't tethered to a power supply? Yes. Adelmo. We are going to put those, I forget what type they are exactly, but they look like a roll of quarters, the raw battery cells into his feet that are rechargeable, and Mark's going to make like a charging circuit for them, because I don't know how to do that and I don't want to blow his feet up, so it's one of those things that I need to sit down with him and actually address it like in a very serious science-y way and sort out the minutia of that. But the tops of his feet will have batteries in them, like a battery cell per foot, and then the bottom half of each of his feet are going to be where the functioning bits go, because I made functioning feet, like mechanical feet that allow him to do stuff, but they take up the whole foot right now, so I'm going to have to do yet another pass of mechanical feet systems that really water them down so they're not overly complex, and they do actually in fact fit within like 5 inches, like a 5x3 volume of space in his feet, at the bottom of his feet. So the challenge is just going to get even harder from here. But that's going to happen this year, to answer your question. But yes, you're right. Measure twice, cut once. I'm glad I measured twice. So, I know estimated 3 hours, but takes 5. I hate waiting for prints, especially when you're like really looking forward to assembling the thing and seeing it done. Like when you know it's the final version and you still have to wait for that like 10-hour print or that 5-hour print, and you're just like, it's like the most anxious feeling. I think that's the equivalent, like, you know, when you were a little kid and you used to get really excited about going to like Disneyland or the water park or whatever, like the next day, and you just couldn't wait to get through the current day so that you could like do the thing that you really were excited about. Like, I think the only way that level of excitement has translated into my adult life is in waiting for what I presume is going to be the final set of parts to print on the printer so that eventually I can put them together and have the thing. That's the only thing I get excited about anymore. It's sad, isn't it? Aw. Aw. Am I ever gonna do another collab with Alan? I know Alan's super busy these days. I just like corresponded with him recently. Like we didn't really have a conversation, but I know that he's busy doing Alan things these days, like in his world. And I don't know, like I guess I could approach him and ask if he'd want to collaborate on one of my projects, because the last two times that we collaborated, it was like more his project, and I was like, I don't know, I was his guest, I want to say, on his thing that he does. So I think potentially, like maybe this summer, I'll come up with something and ask him if he's interested in coming back out to Vegas, and then we can catch up. Who knows? It's in my mind. It's stuff that I think about, but we all get so busy that stuff doesn't end up actually happening, no matter how much you in fact talk about it. Your MK3 settings. I didn't know you could speed it up. I don't want to mess with it though, because it prints so nice. Like, I'll ask Mark about it, because I know he complains about it being slow too, but he uses it to print things for work as well, and quality matters on those prints a lot, so it might be slow for a reason. I don't really know. Not to add edge to those edges for anything that is in contact with meat. True. I can fillet my edges so it doesn't chafe my meat. Yes. Build time with aesthetic. How do you judge what should be sacrificed in order to create the prototype? I don't know, like the iteration, like I like that the individual iterations of the things I'm making have an aesthetic to them. Like, even if I don't end up using them because it's replaced by something, I like having the checkpoint object to show and be like, well, it's not this, but it was once this, and have it be something that's has value, is a unique item in and of itself. And I don't know why that is. Like, most people, like, they make iterations as bare minimum as they need to be because they know that they're gonna, you know, get past that and move on to the next step. And then once it's like complete, then they work on the aesthetic part after the fact, which is like the logical workflow, right, to do. Even if I know, like the thing that I'm making right now, it's not going to be the final solution to this problem that I've given myself, but I still want it to look interesting for what it is, so I'll still kind of slow down and focus on solving the design problems, the aesthetic, the question of aesthetics anyway, so that I'm kind of completing this sentence in the best possible way before I move on to the next. But that's just kind of part of how I do what I do. Because I think the individual things have value to me, even if they don't work. Like, I like holding, like, Noodle's old feet up there. I like picking them up and going, yeah, this isn't it, but at one time it was this, and this is how I solved this problem, and this is like a physical representation of where my head was at one point in time, if that makes any sense. So, I don't know, like, I'm gonna try and get this weird IKEA boob thing to look kind of the way that my brain went, oh yeah, it needs to be exactly this. I'm gonna try and pull it off, and if I do, then I will feel like this meditation was a success, and then I can move on to the next thing, and then eventually just the pasties that hopefully don't weigh my boobs down a whole bunch and like point sadly at the ground. But that's the goal, to answer your question. Crevice. Stage. That doesn't sound right. But could you use TPU to print flexible parts to interface between the functional bits in your body? TPU, is that like the Ninja Flex stuff? I'm not sure. I could, like, we've been meaning to print the softer, use like the softer materials in the printer and set it up for that, because like we both, Mark and I, have a need for more rubbery pieces for the things that we're making, but we just haven't done it. So I suppose it is possible. I just need to buckle down and like do. I've sent you a tweet. You need to get together in person. Cool. Thank you, Custom Creations, for offering to help with the settings. Because we'll definitely probably end up trying that out. Because yeah, it's my one complaint is that the Prusa is very, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a polite word. It's slow with purpose, but it's still slow. And I mean, I can't complain too much because, I mean, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago now, Jesus, fuck, I'm getting old. When I first started doing this, and like when 3D printers for the desktop like first came out, just the fact that those existed was like such a treat, because for this brief period of time, like everything that I'm making now, I used to have to make by hand out of some other material with like a Dremel. And then I would go to the Container Store, which is this like interesting store that we have here in Vegas. I don't know if they're in other locations, but I would go there and I'd buy Tupperware, like raw plastic shapes, and I would cut them and saw into them and drill holes in them, and I would make all of the fittings and connector pieces out of plastic that I harvested from other found objects. But when printing became a thing and I could suddenly just, you know, design something in CAD and then have it, even if it was in 2 hours, that was way faster than having to go and source a shape from the wild and then like modify it and hope that I got the measurements like correct and the plastic didn't split or tear or break in the process. of like making it. So I feel really bad complaining and like giving the Prusa a hard time about how slow it is. I don't know. But who knows? I don't know how fast those things ought to be, or how fast they're even really capable of getting. Like, that's the thing about the 3D printing technology in general, is it's difficult to really envision them being any faster than they are right now, and having the level of detail or the quality not suffer as a result. So, I don't know. Plastic sandals are made from. No, I think everyone feels old when they think to any previous version of themselves. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you think of yourself like from 7 years ago, you always think of yourself relative to that other point in time as being old. So I'm like, I feel old because 7 years ago, I remember where my head was at, and I'm like, oh man, I'm old. But yeah, but that's life. 7 years ago, Sarah was a bee-boo. She didn't know what the fuck she was doing. Not that I do now, but like back then I was like, what? I used SketchUp back then. Did any of you guys use SketchUp? You know what I'm talking about, that terrible like architecture program that Google made that was like really useful for a time until you realized exactly how limiting it was. Or switched to Fusion. Like every so often, like Noodle's original parts were made in SketchUp like a long time ago, and every so often I have to go back and reference a part from his original skeleton, and I have to open up that old file and look at it, and I try to use the file like it's a Fusion file, and it's not. And I remember just how terrible it was, and I like want to bang my head on the wall, and I keep thinking to myself, how did I use this for so long? Because I didn't start using Fusion until like the beginning of 2007. So like not last year, but the year before. So like for that like years and years, I used this other program to make mechanical things, and it like breaks my head that I allowed it to go on for that long. I was like, yeah. Woo! 7 years ago, I was younger. And by younger, I mean like, I think youth really is a statement of where you are in your head. I mean, obviously, to me, like when people say they feel old, like that always is a statement of like a mental state and not a physical state. Although Mark, like when he says he feels old, he's like, my body feels old. When I say I feel old, like it's like mentally I feel older than like when I used to. I don't know. I guess that's a thing to differentiate. But anyhow, I'm gonna dip back down and keep working on my boob piece. Let's see, 7 years ago I was 25. So I was in my 20s too. Back in the day. That was also when I moved back home from college. Oh, I gotta take you guys with me. Wait. Fuck. Sorry. Don't want to forget that. Nope, that's not the right view. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, so I've got the thread. Somebody mentioned I should chamfer and or fillet this part. You are correct. I am going to do that. Let's see. That is this guy. Lamp cap. Nope. Open. Why don't you want to open? Here, I'll close those. Weird. It wouldn't let me double click on it to open it. Jerk. Okay. Fillet. Wait, nope. Yeah, that's the correct one. Okay. Let's see. Can I get away with 10? Maybe, but 8. Okay. Looks like that good. Okay, so got rid of that hard edge. And I'm going to add those tabs that I mentioned for the straps. So the thing that I just drew here, I'm gonna do these little tab bits. I'm going to add those to the sides. Ready, go. How am I gonna do that? Okay, so I think the way I'm gonna solve this problem is I'm going to offset that by 5. Yep. And I'm going to do the one on the top first. I'm going to draw a line straight up, and then I'm going to offset that line. How long do I want my, how wide do I want this? Okay. I used to know this. I'm trying to keep them universal. I'm gonna actually measure wherever the camera is. There, okay. I'm gonna measure one of the straps from the other devices so I can keep them consistent, because off the top of my head I do not remember how thick they were. So I'll be right back. Take my calipers. Okay. They are 26 millimeters wide. Okie dokie. 26. So that would be I'm actually going to do okay, so four, maybe. I guess so. Okay, so I'm going to keep the it's a 4 millimeter width for the I don't know if that's going to be enough. We shall see. So I offset this by 5. I probably don't need 2 is probably enough. Okay, and then I'm going to offset that by 4. Oh. Okay, so these pieces right here, if I extrude these up to here, that's my strap thing. Yeah. But the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to so that I can repeat this thing. No. No. No, no, no. I said 4, not 54. Thank you. Okay. So I can repeat this thing. I can use that fancy whiz-bang circular pattern thing that Fusion allows you to do that's super nice. So I can select all the faces that I want to repeat around my boob mount, and I can go to create, or is it pattern? There we go. And then I can go circular pattern, and then I can click the axes, which is my Z or blue or whatever the hell that is. And it's already like defaulting to 3, which is precisely what I want. I can click OK, and bam, there's all of my strap pieces, just like that. Yeah. Okay, easy. So that's what I was talking about. So I kind of want to keep some level of radial symmetry, so I'm literally ignoring the fact that this would probably work better as a bra piece if these two doodads on the side were like rotated up just slightly. I'm going to negate that. I guess the vibe is if I were making clothes out of things that weren't meant to be clothes, is sort of where my heart is at, for at least this first iteration of all these augments. I'm gonna try and make them a little bit more fashiony, and not fashiony, but like practical in the future, but for the time being, this is definitely the vibe that I want them to have. Brute force. It's the future. Alright, I'm going to fillet. Fish fillet. I'm going to fish fillet these corners by like 5. And just so these don't crack off, I'm probably going to do so to this as well. To an amount. Three? How does that look? Question mark, question mark. 5? 5's probably good. That works. My tabs. There we go. I might want to do the one on the inside too a little bit. Maybe. Man, it got gloomy again. See, we went to Death Valley yesterday for our family road trip, and it was foggy, which was really cool, because Death Valley National Park looked like Mordor or something, which I very much enjoyed. I didn't have to put on sunblock or anything either. Probably do. It's probably good. Okay. Add a bit more meat. But it was gloomy there, and I've never seen it gloomy, and I've never seen it this gloomy in Vegas for this long. It's kind of crazy. Alright, so that's 6 millimeters thick between these two faces. 5 is probably enough. Or no, it is 5, because it's these two faces. Okay, yeah, alright, that's good. Better, better, better. Okay, so I've got my strapples. So again, the thing that I just did, in case you're just tuning in or tuning out, I don't know. I made this shape it's this thing that I just drew that goes around the boobie. I'm gonna throw these in their own folder. And this is the side view of what I'm designing right now. Ah, that's right. So there needs to be some way of bracketing these two pieces together. So there's this top piece. This is the thing that I just made right now. And then there's the bottom piece, which I haven't made yet. And then there's that light diffuser in between. Something has to compress those together, kind of like an ice cream sandwich that's held together with hardware. Yeah. I need to either put some holes or something somewhere, some hardware holes that I'm going to use to clamp the pieces together. Now, an option is to... I can have one on either side of these things. The loops, the attachment loops, I can have like a hardware mounting hole in the, like on either side, which would mean that there are 6 pieces of hardware per boob. I don't know if I want to do that. It's probably the best option. The other option is to put one in between, like the halfway point in between each of these loops. So there'd be like 3 hardware pieces and then 3 strap pieces. So that's the other option. I don't know what I'm gonna do. What do you guys think? What would be more aesthetically pleasing? Having a hole here, here, and here, or 2 on opposite, like each side of each one of these straps. Ooh. I don't know. I don't like it. I hate not being able to make up my mind. All right, let's import that into here. There we go. I'm thinking I kind of want to keep this thing, like the sides of this as clear as possible, so I might put 1 piece of hardware on either side of these strap things. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what it looks like, right? Might not be too bad. Alright, line. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did before with the straps, but let's see, I'm gonna put this about, that's about 64. 60. It's not from the center. Do it this way. 20. I'll do it that way. 20 millimeters from the center of the thing, the loopy thing. So my hardware, I do 3.8 millimeter hole for the 3 millimeter hardware. And then I'm going to offset that hole by 3. Does that overlap? Okay, perfect. And I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side, offset that by 3 millimeters, and I'm going to extrude that part up to here. And it looks like that so far. Actually think, nope, I don't want to do that. I want those to be super clear, so how about, 23. Okay. No. Okay, so the reason I moved those out is because I want to countersink the head of the hardware on the top of this face, so it needs to fit. What will this do if I try to fillet this weird inset edge? We shall see. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted it to do. Okay. And then I believe the head of my Annie hardware is at least 5 or 6. Oh, there's 6. Okay. Alright. No, Noodle. I actually don't like that. So, line. Let's see if I can do that, if I can connect those two with an arc. Like that. Maybe that will be better. Not quite what I was going for. Can I fix it with a fillet? Fix fillet? Probably close enough. But no, I want it to be perfect. It has to be perfect! Okay, so maybe same thing I was doing, but different points. Like, say here. That didn't do it. There's got to be an easier way to figure out. You know what I'm doing right now, but there's got to be a better way to figure out exactly the correct arc to come off of those circles. Don't matter. Close enough is close enough. Alright, it's a little bit better. Meh. Okay. So again, the heads of that hardware that I need, the heads of the hardware that I'm counter dipping are 6 millimeters in diameter, roughly. Doesn't matter, 6 is enough to, 6.2. We'll do 6.2 to be on the safe side. 6.2. And I'm going to sink these down. How about negative 2.5? There, okay. So I got 2.5 millimeters of meat and 2.5 millimeters of dip, which will give, it'll probably poke out about a 0.5 millimeter above this face right here, but that's okay. I'm alright with it looking like that. Or maybe I won't countersink it at all. Then I can put washers on the outside. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so that is one option. So I'm going to repeat this thing that I just did all the way around. Stop sketch. Why is it doing that? There. Okay. So I'm going to do that patterny thing that I just did, that repeat pattern, circularly, steady as she goes, do-si-do, all the way around on those. No, why did you tease it? Don't you hate when you're selecting, like, a bunch of things and you accidentally lift your finger off of the shift key and it deselects all of the shit that you just selected and you have to start over? Does anybody else, like, know that frustration? I'm sure you do. I think that's one of those weird human experiences that we all have that no one ever talks about. So I hate when I do that, and it happens all the time, unfortunately. All right, here. Create pattern, circular pattern. No. Select the axis. I want the blue axis, and we're going to do it 3 times, and it's going to add that addition-y thing that I did to all of the rest of the pieces. And I'm going to click OK, and there you go. So this is what it would look like if I had 6 total pieces of hardware bracketing this part to the lower part, versus 3 split halfway between each of these mounting loop things. I'm gonna check the chat. I'm gonna see what you guys think. 'Cause I know I asked a bunch of questions and then I never checked to see what you guys think. That's rude of me. I apologize. Alright, let me scroll back up. Yes, youth is a mental state. LOL. Fillet. I know it's fillet, but I like fillet better. Like a fish fillet. Mounting housing POV nipples is the same. POV point of it's persistence of vision. Caesar salad. It's POV. Persistence of vision display is like when you move something really, really fast and a light blinks at the right pulses per whatever to spell words or make designs. I'm making a pair of a bunch of propeller pasties that as the propellers spin, they spell out words. So I'm making the mounting junction for the propeller itself. For those of you who are just tuning in. Is there a reason I'm avoiding a mold? Because it takes time. And there's a lot of margin for error. Also, how could YouTube not notify me of this earlier? Oh, hi Polisqualis. Hi Robin. How are you guys doing? I don't know. I don't know why YouTube does what it does. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna dip back down. Down, down, down. Nope. Nope. Wrong down. There we go. Okay. Okay. So I've got these things. I think I like how this looks. I think. Oh. So I'm gonna close this, I'm gonna hit save, and then I'm gonna update my assembly. It's gonna go bam, and bam. Oh, why? Go, update. There we go, okay. So this is what we're looking at. I foresee problems, but I'm going to ignore them. Because that's what I do. That's part of the creative process, is seeing where there's going to be problems and choosing consciously to ignore the problems, the potential problems anyway, just to see what happens, and then become inspired and amused by the trash fire that ends up happening as a result of your conscious decision to ignore all the running signs. So I know when I try to actually wear this, no matter what my straps are going to be angled at, the one in the center is probably going to end up getting like justified this way, which means that the neck mounting point is going to be cocked weird at a strange angle, not going straight up, but going kind of like off this way, which is going to bend the strap in a strange funky angle, and then this is going to be pointing more down. What am I talking about? I'm gonna draw it. Sarah, use your drawing capacity to do this. Okay, so no. So this is the thing I just made. If I'm a person, if I was a person, so like if I had like a neck and shoulders and like boobs. That's a funky shoulder there. Okay, so this is like a female body, which is consequently the type of body that I happen to have. So I'm making these boop pasty things, and they're perfectly round circles, right? Because they're plastic. They're not ergonomic whatsoever. They're just, these are circles. They're flat on the top, and I have these 3 mounting points. Now, if this one was justified going straight up, like relative to the center of the hub, like this, that would mean that one is going to be there and the other is going to be there, because this angle is again 120 degrees. So this means that my other strap thing is going to be pointing kind of down, funky like, which means that when I try to make a connection with a strap, it's gonna want to like bow all weird like this, which maybe isn't a bad thing. I don't know. It might be. I have no idea what that's gonna look like, but it's definitely not going to want to sit naturally like we design clothing to. Like our clothing is supposed to fit on our bodies like in a natural, like second skin sort of way. So I'm going to like ignore this. It's going to be a big unhappy, but we'll see. Same thing here, like the straps are gonna want to come straight off at like a roughly one of these kind of angle do's, and that might not be as big of a problem. The one in the center is definitely going to be a weird issue. Where on the other hand, if contrary to what I just said, these two straps, like say they want to rest here because this is what physics does, and you have this connecting one to one, then that means there's going to be a strap coming off that way and that way, roughly, to keep that 120-degree angle doing. I hope you guys are following me. I hope you guys aren't like, she's talking like crazy psychobabble again, that crazy bitch. So that means there's going to be a strap coming off in that angle and one roughly at this angle, and this is probably not so much an issue, but this one right here, if that's supposed to wrap around my neck, oh god, it's starting at this angle is going to be like a bad, like very big unhappy thing, because it's gonna have to do one of these weird funky things that I foresee being an issue. There's my belly button. Okay, so whether one of these happens or one of these happens, one of those points is going to be a not good. And I'm thinking if I can at all force the physics of this thing to fit in such a way that it's just the center one being bowed kind of strange, I'm going to try and have it fit that way, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to build it and see how it actually fits on my meat pieces. I might get lucky and it will just work for some reason, or it will not work at all. I have no idea, and that's kind of the fun gamble of building something like this. Boobies. So yeah, I'm gonna put these in a folder. And I'm gonna go back over here. I hope I explained that well. I don't know if I did or not, but that's kind of the potential issue I see happening as a result of doing this way. But I'm gonna move on because it's not done yet. I have one more piece that I need to make, and it's going to involve that I duplicate this guy right here. So I'm gonna copy it and I'm going to rename it lamp cover mount. Lamp cover. I'm gonna open this. So the thing that I'm making now is this bottom part right here. And this is just going to be a thin tray piece that doesn't have any threads or anything poking off of it, but it is going to have that groove in it, that channel that the plastic wall is going to sit inside of. So the thing that I'm gonna do I'm going to just extrude a circle straight down and delete all that shit, because I don't need it. So on the bottom here, I've got the channel that I mentioned I need. That's this guy right here. And I've got my tabs, and that's all this piece needs to be. I'll even very courteously rotate it. Wait, bodies. Reset my pivot. To the middle, maybe? Do you want to go? Okay, fine. It doesn't want to do that. That's fine. It doesn't have to. Be disobedient. Save. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my assembly. I'm going to import this guy, or insert this guy into my assembly. That's facing the right direction anyway. thing I didn't do it. Okay. I don't know how thick I want that stripe to be yet. So if I zoom in, so that's flush. Say hypothetically I want it to be 27, 27, 25, there. 8 millimeters wide. That would go about there. It's attached. Yeah, okay. So that's that bottom ring. That's 10. It's probably better. Okay, so between here and here, that is roughly 40 millimeters, it says down here. So between where my nipple would potentially brush on this top plate right here and the part that's conceivably going to be making contact with my my rib cage, I've got that 40 millimeters of open space for my boob to fill, which is not a lot. That's like about that much, which I don't know how that's going to work out. The thing that's nice about adding that wall piece, it's kind of like a buffer. If I need that gap to be thicker, then I just make the wall of my plastic thicker, like wider, so I can move this down and then make that stripe of whatever that material is, like, I don't know, like a 20 millimeter wall maybe, or a 15 millimeter wall. And the thing that's going to go underneath these, like right in this space right here in between the, like on the body of the hardware, there's going to be spacers basically. So those can be adjusted too, and they're quick to print. So the depth of the bra is adjustable because of that one fact alone. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment. How do I make this? There. So that's the piece. I'm gonna run and check on my print though, just to make sure that it's not like a giant wad of crust attached to the print head, and I will be right back. And I might grab more coffee, or make more coffee, or get a beer. No, I'm gonna wait till Mark gets home for a beer. It's 2 o'clock. Is it too late to drink coffee? I don't even know. Alright. I'll be right back. Oh man. I'm gonna opt out of the coffee. See, this is depressing because the print has like an hour and a half left to go. And I still need to print this and this. So I have quite a bit more minutes before I can actually put this thing together and show you guys what it looks like completed. So I think what I might end up doing until then is calling it, and then as I do, post a picture of the completed assembly in Discord as well as Twitter. So and I hate that. Like, that's one of the reasons why I like usually opt out of streaming on any given day, is because the thing that I start is likely not to get done in the time that I'm streaming, and I feel like I should be showing you guys some finished thing when I'm done, because that's like the money shot, right? Like, you want to have that closure, that fruition, that checkpoint, or done point, finish point. So I'm not gonna get there until this is all done doing its thing. But the exciting part about this is once it is done and it hypothetically sticks together, then I can like get footage of it actually in use. And I should mention this, I think the other breast is going to have a different module attached to it. It's going to be that same IKEA base, but it's going to actually implement the sensor, I think, if I can possibly manage this. What did I say? So there's going to be the propeller's rate of RPM is going to be determined by the nipple diameter of the other nipple. So depending on how stiff one of my nipples is, that is going to determine how fast the other motor is spinning. And depending on how fast it's spinning, that's going to affect what message is displayed on the propeller. So one of the breasts is going to have the propeller and the motor, and the other is going to have this sensory device mounted within it. So it's going to be roughly the same flavor as this design right here, but it's going to have different hardware inside of it because it will be providing a different function for the augment. That's going to be another thing to design. Once I have both finished though, I'll be able to put the thing on and actually be like posing, taking a selfie with my absurd apparatus strapped to my body. But I'm probably not going to have both done until later this week. I'll probably most definitely have this single device finished and put together by the end of the day, given that these next two pieces don't take like more than 8 hours. It's gonna be what? It's 2 now, so the one that I'm doing now won't be finished until 3:30. If those two collectively take another 6 hours, then I will definitely at 9 o'clock tonight mash all of these bits together and take a picture. But until then, for those of you that don't know about the Discord, here, let me, there I am. I'm gonna try and, I'm usually in there talking. I haven't been the last couple of weeks super vocal because I've been doing work crap, but normally I'm in there and we're all chatting and everybody has interesting stuff to say and we talk about tech things. Copy? How do I find my thing? Paste. So come, I encourage you to come hang out with us. There we go. And I'm gonna check out the chat before I call it. It's a boob face. It is a boob face. Can all three strap attachments have attachments that rotate around the center of the pasty? Maybe. I could do that if I wanted to get, there's like a type of bearing that does that, right? Like the Lazy Susan bearing. Like, I could hypothetically attach the strap attachments to a spinning bearing thing, and then they would all just move like freely, like around. I could do that. I don't know how that would work. I'd have to like sit and meditate on that. For the sake of being able to design it super fast and not order anything, I'm gonna do this first. If I actually like the way that it looks and it actually seems like it's gonna work, then I might consider that. They do make them no longer pasties. So this, I'm going to do a couple iterations that have straps so that I can just get the concept kind of doing what I want it to do visually, and then I'm going to address how to actually make pasties that will work as pasties. I'm going to probably figure that out along the way, but I kind of want both. Like in the end, I'm going to probably have 3 or 4 completely separate iterations of the propeller bra and or pasty device made, and they're all going to function a little bit differently, but they're all going to have propellers and they're all going to involve boobs. So I think that's what I expect to happen in the end. But yeah, they're not pasties yet. The bra strappies. I like strappies. That implies something else in my head. And everyone had a tanty about it, so he invented the first wire making machine. Bought up all the bra hat wire. Oh, that's funny. That's awesome. He invented the first wire making machine. Makes me think about tractors that move air as opposed to things that spin and indicate something. Yes. Yes. So the other thing that I have to figure out how to work back into this that is making me think it's going to need to be a bra rather than a pasty is so there's that third thing. There's the element of stimulation that happens as a byproduct of the indicating function. And if the propeller is the indicating function, then I have to leverage that in some way to put feedback back into myself. And in the first iteration of the propeller pasty, the gearbox that spun the propeller massaged the nipple. And that was its extra credit function to stimulate the user. And I really liked the idea of that, but I also hated the idea of putting a nipple so close to a functioning gearbox. So I would never actually wear the device, although visually, like on a earplug, it worked really well and it was exciting. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. I still want to use the motor in some capacity to massage the nipple, but I don't know how to do that yet. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna come up with another solution for that problem. My friend Tony suggested looking at the way helicopter propellers work. I guess there's a counter-spinning propeller that goes in the opposite direction of the main propeller or something like that. And there's some mechanism that provides for that movement. If I could come up with some way to gear the DC motor down so that it can spin something around the nipple at a lower RPM, that would be great. Because the DC motor that spins the little POV propeller spins so fast that I would not want that type of motion one-to-one being put back into the nipple. So I'm gonna have to figure out some way of creating a device that doesn't require a torquey motor to create some sort of motion that involves the nipple, but a much slower rate of motion. And that's, again, gonna take a little bit of thought and beer. Probably. Was I ever concerned about being embarrassed during this project? I don't think I have a soul anymore to embarrass. I think, like, again, like going back to like the mentioning of feeling younger or older. I know I'm older now because, like, I think at some earlier point in my life I would have been more bashful about a lot of this, but at this current point in my human experience, like, I don't care anymore. I just feel like I happen to be attached or associated to this like piece of meat that is my body, and it's there. Like, it's, people can see it and look at it and like consider whatever they want about it, and I don't really care. But yeah, embarrassed about what is the question. Like, whenever somebody says, are you worried about being embarrassed? I wonder, embarrassed of what is the thing that I don't know what they're implying. So what would I be embarrassed about? So I'm gonna answer your question by asking you a question. Motors vibrate like little pager motors. I could just vibrate the noodle. I could just vibrate the nipple with the spinning motor. And it is right over the nipple, so maybe that would just be an easy way of not diddling the nipple. A sun gear, yeah. Because the original one has the planetary gear, like the triple planetary gear spinny do, and it worked pretty well. It achieved what I wanted it to, but I'd need to come up with a good way of keeping the gears clear of the nipple meat. But I can sort this out while I sleep for the next week. Yes. I could play music through the speakers. I don't know. Eventually. Those are all things I want to investigate in time. For the time being, though, I'm just gonna try and get the whole system banged out and working. So the next hurdle to get over is the sensing assembly, the one that does the sensing. But yeah. That being said, I'm gonna probably sign off for the time being. I think what I might do is I might possibly print all of these pieces out for both breast pieces and then do a stream where I assemble all of them. That's that Christmas Day morning that I was telling you about earlier, where you get really excited once you have all of your parts and they're ready to assemble. That moment, that excitement moment, that's like going to Disneyland the next day, I might share with you and sit down with all of my finished parts and then go through the process of actually putting it all into one piece, and then you can see how it ends up working out, and then I can put it on my body and we can all laugh about how like ridiculous it either fits or doesn't fit, because I mean, come on, it's like, it's a lamp, like it's not supposed to be a booby piece, so I might do that. We shall see. But I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you for keeping me company for the design process, the catting process of the propeller do. I don't know. Enjoy the rest of the Monday. Like, if you're doing any work things, I hope it goes stress-free and smoothly, and that you find time to relax this week too. And if it's snowing, I don't know. Hopefully it stops snowing wherever you're from soon. I feel like I should send that energy out there. It seems like everyone I know in the Midwest is like getting pounded with snow still, and that sucks. But anyhow, take care, guys. Be good. Make stuff. Keep making awesome stuff out there. And now the question is, can I find the icon to finish my stream? Where is it? Okay. All right, bye guys. See ya.